Okay, I think we're ready to get underway. My name's Chris Perino. I'm here on behalf of the Newark Police Foundation, along with a number of my fellow board members who I'll talk about in a minute. I just want to thank everybody for joining us today, and there'll be some more thank yous later, but I really do appreciate the turnout. Really impressive for what we think is a truly important event. We're here to build on Newark's success, to help Newark be an even better place to work, live, and visit. And as I was walking around earlier, it's so nice to see many, many familiar faces, law enforcement leaders, elected leaders, community leaders, religious leaders, clergy. And I think from my time as AG, I can say with total confidence that the one thing everyone can agree on as it relates to policing is that trust is absolutely vital. So when trust is lacking, we know that bad things happen. Routine police encounters are more likely to turn violent. Communication between police and residents is stifled, and it goes on. So how do you go about building trust between police and the communities they serve? The answer is actually simple, right? Both sides of the equation, the cops and the residents, need to spend some quality, non-confrontational time together. Basic relationship building. But while the answer to the question is simple, actually getting it done, building trust, not so easy. Doesn't come overnight. And when you talk about relationship building on this scale, with this many police officers and this many residents, we're talking about doing it one day at a time, one police officer to hopefully one or more than one resident at a time, day in and day out, year after year, and not only in the wake of a crisis. And we need to start with our youth. So that's why we're here today at the Belmont Runyon Elementary School as the pandemic recedes, hopefully, and following the one-year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd. Our approach is, again, pretty simple. We're turning this effort, though, into a contest. We're going to try and get the competitive juices flowing of the Newark PD, and we're going to turn their attention to getting back in touch, now that the pandemic is hopefully behind us, with kids. Here's how it's going to work. The foundation will fund grants to each of Newark's 7 precincts. With those funds, each precinct will create a youth-focused community engagement initiative, and they'll implement that initiative in the coming months. Later this year, each initiative will be evaluated and judged for 1, effectiveness in engaging with youth, 2, sustainability, and 3, creativity. The Winning Precincts initiative will be implemented citywide in the name of that precinct with funding from our foundation. In order to pay for all this, we're also kicking off today formally a campaign event and a fundraising effort. So we stood up a website, it was live last night. It's newarkpolicefoundation.com. No spaces, newarkpolicefoundation.com. We ask that you visit, and if you can, donate. Now, none of this would be possible, of course, without the great collaboration of our state, federal, and local partners, many of whom are here today. And we're going to hear next from a few of them, beginning with my successor and friend, Attorney General Grabir Graywall, United States Attorney Rachel Hoenig, Mayor Ras Baraka, and Public Safety Director Brian O'Hara. General?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, General Perino, for your remarks and for that introduction. It's so good to be here at Belmont Runyon Elementary School, and I'm excited to mark the beginning of this program today with U.S. Attorney Hoenig, with Mayor Baraka, Director O'Hara, General Perino, the officers of the Newark Police Department, so many other partners in the clergy, so many other community partners, and especially the children and families who are here with us in Newark today. About 2 years ago, and Mayor, I don't know if you remember this, the mayor and I, along with the prosecutor, visited Central High School, not too far from here. And at that time, we were talking to young people about their perceptions of law enforcement. And we had about 40 students in the room that day. And I asked each of those kids to describe for me in one word their perception of law enforcement. And as I went around the room, the answers I heard were fearful, scared, abuse. To a young person, I didn't hear anything positive. And it broke my heart. It was probably one of the most difficult rooms I've been in as Attorney General because I didn't have an answer for those young people. For a moment, I was at a loss. But then I turned it back on those young kids. I said, how do we fix it? How do we ensure that the next time the mayor, that I, the prosecutor, and others come back to you here at Newark Central High School and we ask you about your perceptions of law enforcement, that we hear words like friend, guardian, ally. And shyly, a young woman raised her hand. And she said, we just want to know our cops, and we want them to know who we are. Not who they think we are, but who we really are. We don't want to meet them for the first time when something goes wrong. What a profound and yet simple concept that was. Because what that young person was talking about is what General Perino just spoke about. That's the foundation of public safety. It's public trust. Just think about it. If you trust your cops, if you have that relationship, you won't be afraid to go to them when you're in harm's way. You won't be able to go to them when you need protection. You won't be fearful to go to them to report a crime. And that's what we've been trying to do over the last 3 years, find ways to rebuild that trust where it's eroded, to build it where it never existed, to maintain it and to enhance it. We've been trying to do that with policies around use of force. We've been trying to do that by having listening sessions across our state with community members. We've been trying to do that by supporting body cam programs and other methods and means to improve public trust in policing. And this program that the Newark Police Foundation, that Director O'Hara, that the city, that the mayor are getting behind is part and parcel of that work of rebuilding trust. Think about it, as the General said, this is about building trust one block at a time, one neighborhood at a time, one day at a time. And I couldn't be more proud to help support the program in any way we can through funding and grant monies that we're making available to lift up this program. And it's my hope that every other department, every other city in this state, every other community in this state continue to look towards Newark as a model of how to get policing right, as a model of how to build that trust between law enforcement and community, as a model for public safety. So again, I look forward to the partnership with this foundation. I look forward to working with General Perino as he builds out this program and as we could take it hopefully statewide in other communities where they're not doing the innovative things that this community is doing. So thank you, General Perino.
Thank you, Attorney General. U.S. Attorney?
Thank you, General. I'm Acting United States Attorney Rachel Hoenig, and I want to thank Attorney General Perino, Mayor Baraka, Public Safety Director O'Hara, Attorney General Graywall, and the Acting Essex County Prosecutor for inviting me to participate today in the launch of this terrific program. I completely agree with Attorney General Graywall that people really should look to Newark as a model of what a police department and a city and a community can accomplish in the area of police reform with a lot of effort and a lot of time and a lot of thought. In many ways, Newark has had a head start on the rest of the state in reforming and considering different forms of policing, and particularly in this area, and focusing on community engagement. And that's because 5 years ago now, in 2016, the city and the police division entered into a consent decree with the Department of Justice. And Newark has made really tremendous strides under that consent decree. We're very proud of where Newark is and proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with them implementing those reforms. And that includes community engagement. It's actually the first area that's called out in the consent decree. I mean, they're not listed in any particular order of importance, but it is the first. And really one of the key components. Newark, under the consent decree, is required to develop programs and training for officers on community engagement practices, and that specifically includes training on how to create opportunities for positive interactions between law enforcement and youth. And this program is a perfect example of that. The consent decree also required Newark to dedicate 2 community service officers in every precinct, which Newark has done. And those community service officers run outreach events and attend community meetings to receive feedback from the public. And these are all, as both Attorney General Perino and Attorney General Graywell have already said, really important parts of any effort to restore and, more importantly, perhaps maintain trust between the police department and the community that it serves. And for that reason, initiatives like the program that's being announced today and like the Newark Police Division's Summer Initiative are both vital to the city of Newark, but also important to the federal government as well. And that's why I'm proud to be here with this group for the kickoff and launch of this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Mayor?
So good afternoon. Just obviously want to thank Chris Perino, Attorney General Chris Perino, and the Police Foundation for making this a reality here. Attorney General Graywell, Acting U.S. Attorney Hoenig, all of the religious community that's here today, our men and women of the police department, our Public Safety Director, O'Hara, the Chief, Lee Douglas as well. I see Councilman Ramos, Councilman Quintana over there as well. These things affect our communities, and so this is a great opportunity for the city of Newark. And more importantly, I thank all these young people that are standing behind us, the superintendent of Newark Public Schools, Roger Leone, you know, everybody who's coming together to make this happen. And I see countless community organizations out there, folks that do the work. I'm glad you've thought it not robbery to show up here today. This is very important step for us here. The prosecutor's office is here with us today. I seen Prosecutor Stevens. He was here in the back bothering me, but he's here. But you know, this is a joint effort. And listen, Newark has come a long way. We have a longer way to go. And this is a step further in that direction. And so I appreciate it, and I'm sure the precincts will come up with creative and innovative ways to battle one another in a very positive way, to create opportunities where young people can once again, or initially begin to look at police departments or police officers as something that they want to do or be when they grow up. And that's how you have to begin it with kids when they're young. They say they want to be Batman or Superman. When I was a principal, that's the young kids want to be that. We want them to also say they want to be firemen. They want to be police officers as well. And they want to be a police officer in the city of Newark. And that's what we want. And ultimately we get there. And I think that helps us begin to create a better relationship between the police and the community. And that's a win-win for everybody. Everybody goes home safe. Our communities are safer. Our families are healthier. And Newark is moving in the right direction. So thank you once again.
Well said, Mayor. Director?
Right. Good afternoon, everyone. Just wanted to thank, obviously, General Perino and the members of the Newark Police Foundation for their support in this initiative, and of course the Attorney General, the current U.S. Attorney, previous U.S. Attorney is here with us also, and of course our partners from the county and the state as well. It's truly incredible to be able to launch this initiative, this contest, at such a great event today. We have to, give thanks again to Superintendent Leone and to the principal here, Dr. Washington, for their incredible support of this event. Thank you. It's obvious that you all worked tirelessly to ensure that you could make today as special as it is. Because it's not just about today, right? It's about ensuring that, we're recommitting ourselves to the future of what we want policing in the city of Newark to look like, right? Our kids have been through a rough time, like the rest of us, over the last 14 months, and we will not know for quite some time the effects that has had on their development. Prior to this, our CSOs, prior to the pandemic, our CSOs had been able to be out in the community regularly doing incredible work engaging with young people. And so now that we're able to start coming out of this pandemic, particularly at this time, during this summer, it's so tremendously important that we have the support from the Newark Police Foundation to ensure that we're doing real, meaningful engagement with our young people and that we're identifying new ideas and new energy to take it to the next level. Because we know that's exactly what's needed at this time. As finally young people will be able to do what they weren't able to do last summer. They'll be able to go out and play with their friends and be involved in activities and all these types of things. And we want to ensure that they're able to do so safely and that we're able to continue the work that had begun to build trust and to sort of change and redefine the image of police officers in our community. Unlike the experience that the Attorney General had previously, we want the future to represent something different. We want in the future, when the Attorney General comes back, no matter where he goes in this city, that our young people in this city will tell them what they see when they see a Newark police officer. What they see is something different. They see that uniform of the Newark Police and they feel proud, they feel safe. They know their local community service officer. We want them to have all those types of feelings, and like the mayor said, we want them to see it in such a way that they too want to grow up and become Newark police officers and join us. So again, thank you so much, General, and everyone else from the Police Foundation. We're incredibly thankful that you've chosen Newark to have this event here. Thank you.
Just a couple of additional thank yous. My fellow Board of Trustees, I think everyone is here. Mo Butler, former United States Attorney. Mo? All right, Mo. We're not going to do this for everybody. It's just for you, Mo. Former United States Attorney Craig Carpenito, Jim Cran, Carlos Couto, Chip Halleck, Barry Mattis, Mary Toscano, and last but not least, Leah Smith, who was a colleague of mine from Lowenstein, was a colleague of mine in the AG's office. I swiped her when Attorney General Graywall wasn't looking. And we are just great and close friends, and she's taken time away from her twin babies and her work in running the litigation department to help put this event together with me, and I'm super grateful to her. I also wanted to thank the superintendent, Roger Leone, who I know who was here. I think he may still be here behind me. Excellent. And Dr. Washington, the principal here, is just a force of nature. I have to say, it was incredible. We came toward the school a couple of weeks ago, and that night at about 11 o'clock, I got an email that was so long I couldn't read it. I had to wait, finish it the next morning. Checking every box, making sure every detail was covered. Really grateful. Thanks to the Essex County Prosecutor, Ted Stevens is here. And in the Newark Police Division, you guys have been incredible. This doesn't happen by accident. Lots of coordination. Lieutenant Leonardo Carrillo and the community service officers who are here. Lieutenant Manuel Pinto, who is NPD's Special Event Coordinator. Other community leaders and clergy who are here, and my friends who I got to know real well when I was AG and have stayed in touch with. So glad that you could make it. Asado Steakhouse, who provided the lunch, and Multimedia Solutions, who built our website. Last but not least, several council people are here. John Sharp James from the South Ward, Louis Quintano who's a councilman at large, and Anibal Ramos, of course, from the North Ward. We really do appreciate your attendance, and we thank you for your support and participation. We're glad to take questions offline or however you'd like, press would like to proceed. Thank you very much.